So apparently I've forgotten to drop off my son's book order twice now, 2 days in a row. Life of the entrepreneur, right?
Hey, what's happening, guys? My name is Ivan Temelkov. I have a startup called RazorSharpDigital.com. Check out the website. It's a human business agency startup that helps brands forge their digital governance through human-to-human convergence, aka human business. This is episode 23 of my YouTube show, The Biz Grind. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you've been following along thus far, thank you for being a continued subscriber. I really appreciate your time and taking the effort to listen to watch these episodes. I'm hoping that you're getting some value out of these episodes. For new subscribers, for those of you watching this video for the very first time, this is a show about entrepreneurship, marketing, startups, and trying to share value and insight from my perspective, from my experiences, that can help you build and evolve your own business in today's digital marketplace. In this episode, guys, I want to talk about unicorns and rainbows and unicorns, excuse me. I think one of the main things that I really wanted to emphasize in this episode is really to iron out some misconceptions, all right, real quick. And watch this video real quick up here, and that will give you some insight on a couple of things that I wanted to mention.
One of the misconceptions is that as an entrepreneur that you always have time, when in fact time is a constant struggle, finding time for stuff, finding time to get things done. So it's important to be efficient, to be structured. It's 2:30 p.m. right now, and I'm just getting around to grabbing something to eat for lunch. And that's very unusual, but there's days where you're just hustling and grinding. You got to keep focusing on what you're doing, because that's more important than getting lunch at the right time. So
with that being said, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about entrepreneurship is that you're going to land in the land of unicorns and rainbows, and it just doesn't work that way. And let me tell you why. So I've been entrepreneurial for nearly 2 decades, and last year in 2016, it was in April of 2016 when I decided to venture out and launch my startup, Razor Sharp Digital. Now, keep in mind that my son was born in April of 2016. So what does that equate to? Is me leaving a 9-to-5 job to start a business with no upfront capital, and all of it was an entire bootstrap operation. One of the first few things that you're going to realize is that forget about residual income, at least in the beginning, because you need to build up to that. Now, if you have the leisure prior to, that's something I will strongly recommend, is to build up to some residual income before you actually venture out on your own. A lot of entrepreneurial individuals are doing that. That's something that I didn't do, simply because I realized that I needed to put my focus, 100% of my focus, I needed to go all in on my business to be successful. And that was the only way for me to do it, is to put forth undivided attention on my business, spend majority of my time, all of my time, on day-to-day basis for my business. Now, keep in mind, is in May, June, July, August of last year, there was little to no income. So keep in mind, is this, having to pay a mortgage, having to pay a car payment, having to pay utilities, make sure you can put food on the table, clothing, food for my son. These are some of the challenges that new entrepreneurs have to realize, is that you're not automatically entering the land of rainbows and unicorns. It just doesn't work that way. And you have to put a lot of legwork, a lot of grinding and hustling to go out there to forge new relationships or harness existing relationships so you can build some residual income. And most importantly is being able to provide value to your clients. What I mean by that is being able to complement clients in a way that they see value in that. So these are some of the things, really focusing on building new relationships, harnessing existing relationships, making sure that I was solidifying my personal brand in the online marketplace is really what helped me evolve. And now fast forward to almost a year later, some of these things, some of those seeds that were planted earlier on are really starting to come to fruition. And it just takes time, guys. That is one of the things that I emphasize upon. And when people talk to me about entrepreneurship, when I talk to fellow entrepreneurs also, is that, I resonate very much so. I understand the struggles. The struggles are fucking real. And you have to understand that. And the fact that there are struggles and discomforts is why 99% of entrepreneurs fail, because they don't understand that entrepreneurship is really just one giant fucking gamble, and that's the one thing that you really have to understand from the get-go. You have to be optimistic yet skeptical. Having some upfront capital in starting a business, it definitely helps. Although I have seen entrepreneurs build businesses through grassroots bootstrap type of operations where they've invested all their time, money, and energy into building a business like that. So my point being is that having some upfront capital, definitely helps. Having investors absolutely helps. These are the two most common ways that businesses are started. Now, depending on what your business is, what industry you're in, or what vertical, of course, that's going to play a huge contingency in whether or not you should seek upfront capital or an investor to really get you going. So that's one of the main things that I really want to emphasize. And the whole point behind this episode was to really emphasize the misconception of rainbows and unicorns. I gotta tell you guys, quite a bit of time will pass before all your ideas come to fruition and everything, all the pieces come in play. As the saying goes, is all the pieces to the puzzle fit, or you find all the pieces to the puzzle. And sometimes it takes years. Actually, in most cases, it takes years. Some of the most successful entrepreneurs, business owners that I know, it has taken them years, some even a couple of decades, before they've built a reputable business. So you have to understand that you're not going to be successful overnight. You're going to fail multiple times. Sometimes you're going to fail so terribly that you're going to wish that you never pursued entrepreneurship. And look, guys, is coming from me as someone who has experienced hardship, financial hardship, and hardship in a way of building a business, taking chances, financial risks. I'm the first to tell you that entrepreneurship is definitely not all rainbows and unicorns. And if you're not optimistic in that sense, if you get up every day and think in a negative state of mind, then of course the outcome is going to be negative. But if you wake up every morning and you have a huge sense of positivity, then you can make anything happen. All you got to do is put your mind to it, grind and hustle, and give it some time. Time is of essence, and time will tell where you go with entrepreneurship. So one of the main messages that I wanted to emphasize in this episode is talk about rainbows and unicorns, and the fact that before you even land in rainbows and unicorns, is some time will pass. And be ready for the struggles and the hardships that you're going to encounter along the way, because the reality of things is that you have to put in the time, you have to put in the work to be able to achieve that success. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this episode in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like, share it out there on your social channels. I would really, really appreciate it. If you know someone that might benefit from the message of this episode, then I strongly encourage you to share it with them. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot to me that you tuned in. Stay tuned for episode 24 tomorrow. Peace out. I have no doubt. That's just it, is you have to, where I come in is I'm complementing your business and collaborating with Jamie, because largely in part, what I'm going to be doing is, as we move forward, is also sharing education and resources and collaborating with her to where we can cover more ground.